Good evening, folks. It's Sunday. Y'all won't see it on Sunday, but it's Sunday here. And we've gotten in from Sunday school, and I had thawed some chicken thighs, and I've got them boiling. I'm going to boil them for about 40 minutes, and then I'll debone it. But I'm going to make a little pot of chicken gumbo, so I thought I would bring y'all along and show you what I do. Now, I don't have exact measurements. I guess I could get a measured cup and just measure as I go. But I have some green onions and some white and yellow onion chopped. I have bell pepper and I have celery chopped. And I'm going to put that into the skillet that has some olive oil in it. Just going to saute it until it gets tender. And then I'm going to take all of that out and I'm going to make a roux. And all of this will go into the pot of the chicken broth when I take the chicken out to debone it and put the chicken back in. I will put all the vegetables in, and then when my roux gets ready, I will put it in there, and that's what makes that wonderful soup on the gumbo. So I'm just going to take the camera and show y'all what I have here on the butcher block. I love my booze block. And then I'll show you, I'm going to put it in the skillet and then just, saute it until it's tender. And when I'm doing celery, I like to use the leaves on the celery too. It adds a little bit of extra color and lots of flavor. So let me get the camera and show y'all what it looks like here, my little prep area. Then I'll get it in the skillet. And I got to get a little bit of rice cooking, and we're just going to have gumbo and rice and a green salad. Okay, I have my celery chopped, bell peppers, onion, and green onion. And I'm going to get all of this over here in this skillet. Right here, I've got it heating. And it looks like it's heating pretty good. Guess I better turn it off for a minute. Got my chicken boiling. And we'll get this all combined and make a gumbo. I love this little scraper for picking up my onions and bell peppers and all to put it into the skillet. I don't like what I'm dropping, but oh well. I'm going to put my onions in for just a little bit before I add the other vegetables, and then, well, one or two might have jumped in, but basically to start with, I'm going to just do the onions. The yellow and white onions are what I'm doing first. Just let them saute down a little bit. Then I'll add the rest of the vegetables and let them get tender. The onions are starting to caramelize a little bit, so I'm going to add in my 1 cup. That was 2 cups of onion, maybe a little more. I'm adding in 1 cup each of bell pepper and celery. And I'm going to add in a little bit 3 cloves of garlic. Now, if you wanted to make this into a shrimp and sausage and chicken gumbo, you would take your link sausage and cut it in little pieces and brown it off. And then you would put your shrimp in last, just long enough for it to cook in the broth, and then serve it. But I'm going to just do plain chicken gumbo today. Okay, I've got all of my celery, bell pepper, onions, all of that into my broth. And I've tasted it, and the seasoning is right. I'm just going to let that simmer, and I'm fixing to make my roux, but I'm going to debone my chicken. Then I will get it in there, make my roux, and my gumbo will be just about ready. Okay, into my skillet, I've put 1/2 cup of oil and about 3/4 of a cup of flour. And I put a few cranks of black pepper. I'm going to put just a dash of salt because this is the right taste already. I don't want to get it too salty. And I'm going to cook this until it's about as brown. My mom used to say the color of a copper penny. You want it brown, kind of like the color of cinnamon. And that's what gives it that wonderful gumbo flavor, is your roux. Now, if you're not comfortable with making roux, you can buy it in a little jar. I've never bought it. I always make my own. But that's what flavors your gumbo. Well, that's not the only thing, but you want that dark roux in your juice. So I'm just going to continue to cook this, and when it gets good and brown, I'll bring you back and show you, and I'm going to add it to the pot. Now, all I did was boil chicken, take it out and debone it. Boil your chicken about 40 minutes, and that way it won't just be a stringy mess. And I first of all put a little oil in my skillet and put my onions in and let them cook down. And then I added my cup of celery, bell pepper, and one bunch of green onions. And I let them saute, and I added them to the broth. Okay, this broth had, it's chicken broth that you buy, canned chicken broth. And I added about a tablespoon of onion powder and 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder to it, and tasted of it. And so far I haven't added any more, but you kind of get your broth going by taste. And once you get your vegetables softened, you put them in and let them just simmer while you're getting your, I've already put my deboned chicken in too. And I'm just going to let that simmer on low till I get my roux made. Now, I'm not claiming to be an authentic Louisiana gumbo maker. This is just how we've always made it, and you know what? It's pretty good. Sometimes I add a can of Rotel tomatoes to it. Sometimes I don't. I'm not going to add tomatoes today because I have my salsa. I can put some in my bowl if I want it. But I will add filet, and I will add parsley flakes when I get it closer to being done. So see, this is browning, and I'll try to get the camera a little bit closer where you can see the doneness of the roux. And you don't want to have your fire too hot because it'll just burn it. You just want it to slowly brown and cook that flour to that good flavor that you want in the gumbo. Okay, you can see that it's getting brown, but that's not brown enough yet. I like mine really dark, so I'm just going to keep stirring it until some of it's getting browner. But we do want it, I do want my gumbo to taste that cooked roux flavor that it gets. And it's like I said, it just takes time to get your roux brown enough. It's getting there, it's getting brown, but now what you see, those little pieces in there, that's just little pieces of the vegetables that didn't all come out of the pot. So, and I used about 5 chicken thighs. I usually use white meat, but I didn't have any bone in, and that gives it the best flavor. I may open a jar of my chicken breast that I've canned and add to it to give it a little bit more substance. But I'll have to get this done and in there, and then I can add my chicken if I want to. Now, if I were going to put shrimp in it while the roux is almost done, I would add my shrimp. I would have already put in the brown sausage and chicken, and right at the last I would add my shrimp because you don't want them to get rubbery, you just want them to be done. But sometimes I like just chicken gumbo. And you could add any kind of seafood to it that you wanted to. This is just a method. And today the only meat I'm using is chicken, but the method is the same regardless of what you put in it. You can put turtle in it if you have some. I had never had any. Okay, the roux is just about as brown as I want it, and I've got it all scraped over to the side so I can put it in the gumbo. It's a little bit darker than cinnamon. May not be showing up on the camera, but that's what it looks like. So I'm fixing to get it into my skillet, my pot of gumbo here, and it's going to sizzle and hiss, and that's okay. Because it's hot going into hot. And then what I like to do is put a little bit of water into my skillet just to get that last little bit out. So that's what I'm going to do here. Maybe a little more. Don't want to waste any of that. I done stood here a long time making it. I want it all in the gumbo. Okay, I'm going to let that simmer for a little while. And then I'll add some parsley flakes and some filet. Now some people add filet at the table per bowl, but I always add it to my gumbo. So we'll be back in just a little bit and let you see what's going on with the gumbo. This is some of my good white meat chicken that I canned back in May, and I want to add it to my pot here and let it heat while my rice is finishing cooking. And if you're making your gumbo and you like the flavor, but it doesn't taste doesn't look quite as brown as you want it, you can add a little kitchen bouquet to it and it'll make it nice and dark and pretty. I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of parsley flakes, and these are dried. And I added a few of my red bells that I had freeze dried. I'm going to let that stay, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of filet. Add a couple of tablespoons of filet. And you may not like it, so you better taste to make sure what you want in it. I like it. Okay, here's the gumbo, all in the bowl, and we're fixing to go sit down and eat. Thank y'all so much for coming to the kitchen today and watching me make something that I watched my mama make most all of my life. I like chicken gumbo, I like shrimp gumbo, but I like just chicken gumbo. It's a good soup on a cool day. So we're going to have us a bowl of gumbo, and I done backed out of making the salad. We're just going to have gumbo and some of the olive bread that I made, or crackers. Troy will probably choose crackers. And we're going to have a good lunch. I hope y'all are having a good lunch today, or a good supper tonight. It sure does make you happy to have something good to look forward to. I had mentioned to him that I was going to make gumbo after church, so he asked me this morning, was I still making gumbo? So we're going to have chicken gumbo, and then we're going to rest a little while, and then we're going back for the evening service at church. Hope y'all have a blessed day. I hope you're practicing a little bit of what I'm preaching about, turning off those devices and making some family time and family memories. Make those babies know that you do care about what they're doing and what their life is involved in and the little things they do. Children that don't feel like anybody cares are the ones that tend to have some issues, and a lot of that can be prevented if, as parents, you'll do your part to gather them close, listen to them, communicate with them without them feeling like they're playing second fiddle to an electronic device. It's not real love if you can't lay that thing down and talk to a human. So y'all need to think about it and make some happy memories with your kiddos. Again, thank you for watching. Please share my channel and tell your friends that they can learn some good recipes here and listen to an old lady ramble and give a little bit of her own advice. The good Lord bless y'all. I'll see you right back here tomorrow.